We are live.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. As we start today's session, I want to narrate a story with you all. Minank and I have studied in one of the renowned boarding school in Delhi. We are together since 2011. Both of us joined in class 4th. We were average in respective fields. I was a swimmer and Minank is a horse rider. I was good in music and band and Minank was good in sports. We have bought few laurels for our school, and since we were all students in class 12, we were appointed as the captains for schools and houses respectively. And 10 March 2020 was a turning point in our life. We interacted with Miss Sunanda, the career coach, and during our mentoring session, we realized that we have some potential to initiate a small yet impactful association. And both of us decided to start GEN, Youngsters Entrepreneur Nexus, soon after the board exams. But on 18th March, the CBSE announced the postponement of boards due to COVID-19 and it left us blank and clueless. We approached our mentor, Ms. Sunanda, and she introduced us to our partner, Ms. Kavita, and immediately with their guidance, we initiated our project on all social media sites. In each lockdown phase, we started with the small activities. We started with student masterclass on 4th and 5th April. Later, we organized a principals roundtable conclave. Then we participated in career hackathon. We have participated in many online events and then conceived this 9 days learning capsules. So friends, we are among you, but we brought to this stage is is a proper mentoring and handholding. We are not perfect. We fumble, we not confident. Yet we started as with every imperfect action, you become better. Instead of wasting our time in web series and watching movies, we decided to bring something productive for youth. And with this, I welcome you all for today's session. If you are inspired by our story, please let us know with your comments. Friends, I'm Siddharth, convener of YEN, Youngsters Entrepreneur Nexus, and this forum is started to ignite the young minds. Today's keynote speaker is Abhishek Datta, an experienced entrepreneur with a demonstrated history of working in education services industry. He is skilled in building strong educational brands from scratch. He is an author of 2 best-selling books. We welcome you, sir, and our mentors, Ms. Kavita Rai and Ms. Sunanda Rao. We welcome the students fraternity from all over the India who have joined us at Zoom and YouTube Live. Now I request Abhishek Datta, sir, to take up.
Welcome, Abhishek. Please start.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for getting me on this platform. So we have more people joining in, or you'll conduct that? You have more people joining in? Great.
Yes, we will be.
Okay.
You start.
Okay, great. So I'll share my screen and then we'll start from there. Great. So my name is Abhishek Datta. I hope you guys are able to see me. So this is a brief about myself. So today we are going to talk about delivering high impact presentations. And what are high impact presentations? First, we need to understand what is high impact presentation. High impact presentations are those where you make a difference in the way people act after listening to your presentation. And that is the key thing that we have to keep in mind when we're delivering a presentation. And presentation doesn't mean only PowerPoint presentation. Presentation is also including like public speaking, giving a thesis presentation, talking to people in groups, maybe 6, 7, 10, 50, 100, and a lot more. So all of this are part of the presentation skills. So we'll start off directly from here. Great. So what is the first thing that comes to your mind? I'd like to ask all of you some questions. And guys, I would be very happy if you can type it out on the chat box. There's a chat box on the right-hand side if you're joining from Zoom, or if you are on YouTube, it's also on the right-hand side. Guys, I need you to write down certain things. Somebody is using their markers on the screen. I would request the person not to use the marker on the screen because it will impact the other people who are looking at the screen. Okay. So I would do one thing. Let me see if I can clear the markers. Yeah, thank you. Great. Okay. Do not write it on the screen. You can go to the chat box there. The chat box is there on the right-hand side. And if I ask you questions, I would love that you guys keep pumping in on the chat box. So what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you are asked to present? What is that first thing that comes to your mind when you asked you to present? Can I get some answers there? Can I get some answers on the chat box? Whatever is there whenever we are asked to present. Suppose, for example, we are told to give something presentation. So what is the first thing that comes to your mind? If I ask you to present, say, on COVID-19, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? If I ask you to get in front of, say, 1,000 people and speak to 1,000 people, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Okay, somebody says causes, delivering data, PowerPoint. Okay, great. Precautions, effects, great. Okay, so my topic about the knowledge about the topic, great. Thank you so much, guys. I am loving it. You guys are awesome. You're putting it on the chat box. Great stuff. Janil says speech, absolutely yes. And apart from all of this, is there some kind of emotion that you go through? Whenever somebody asks you to present, is there some emotion that you go through? I would again request people not to use the unnote button on the top. It is just causing a bit of lines on the screen itself. So guys, do not use the unnote button on the top. Okay. So when you're asked to present on the emotional front, do you feel something like afraid or fear or okay, nervous? Yeah, Drashti says nervous. Okay, nervous. Sometimes you forget. I also forget. So no worries. I am in your league only. I'm nobody extra, nothing, not great enough. I'm in your league. Stage fear. That's some good points. Yeah, great words. Stage fear. What else does it come to your mind? What else comes to your mind when you're taking a presentation or when you're asking your teachers? So you guys are from schools and colleges. Lack of confidence. Okay, great. Okay. Yeah, absolutely yes. And you guys are bang on. This is something that what we say is the fear, the emotions that we go through. And the emotions that we go through, you are not alone. Every one of us go through the same emotions. So before, oh yeah, somebody says afraid of being laughed at. Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. That's the kind of thing that we have to avoid here. But that is something, okay, fear of being judged. Okay, lot of answers. Thank you so much, guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. So what is it that goes on in the mind? All of this goes on in the mind, right? But you're not alone. Everyone faces it. Even for me, even if I am going to take a presentation, I will face it, right? Even after I have taken close to 500 presentations till now, 500 to 600 presentations, public speaking, right? But even then, I face all of this fear. So this is not something that only you have. It is not something that only people who are not experienced have. It's not something that only students have. It is something that every one of us have. Even Barack Obama or Donald Trump or Modi ji, when they go onto the stage, they will also have that fear coming in, right? And that is there, and that is something that we have to learn after a lot of practice. And that is when we say you are not alone. When I say you're not alone, you are not at all alone. Because first time so you guys are maybe schools, colleges, you're in school, college, or maybe after college, yes, some of you are there. I remember this particular incident. What happened is when the first time I was asked to present in my school, that was, I think, class 6 or 7. I did not go to school for 1 week. And I actually cited fever. I got to a doctor and said, give me a prescription saying I have got fever because I don't want to go to the school and give a presentation. And that's the fear that all of us have. And next, I will also like to ask you a question here. Who do you think gives a better presentation, an extrovert or an introvert? Who do you think gives a better presentation, an extrovert or an introvert? Can I get something on the chat box? Extroverts give better presentation or introverts give better presentation? Okay, Aditya says extrovert, Vimrat says extrovert, Drashti says extrovert. Okay, can I get some more on the chat box? Extrovert or introvert? Extrovert are people who are very outgoing, friendly with people, who are very, very outgoing. They're always jumping, they're always partying, they're always with guys, with their friends. Introverts are people who are more, they look inwards, they seek inwards, they try and find out what from inside what they're feeling. So mostly like reading a book or maybe spending some time on the laptop studying. So who do you think gives a better presentation? Oh, somebody finally says introverts. Ilika says introvert. Okay, great. Okay. So see, the question, the reason I asked you this question is not because it's a question of introvert or an extrovert. Presentation is all about preparation. Even if you are an introvert or an extrovert, it doesn't matter. I know for sure people who are extroverts who cannot give public presentations, public speaking, because they are not able to prepare themselves for a presentation. And I know introverts who give amazing presentations. And even then, you cannot even figure out from what they're saying that they are an introvert. And that is when we say you are not alone. You are not alone. If you look at your screen, you'll see that public speaking is that's the most feared stuff for people. People fear bugs, snakes, drowning, needles, claustrophobia, flying. But apart from all of this and above all of this is public speaking. And you have to understand that this is a fear which will remain with you for your entire life. It's not something that's a magic pill that you'll take one day morning and you will come out of like you're not even afraid of public speaking. No, it will not happen. And the only way that you can ensure that you're not afraid of public speaking is to ensure that you are prepared well enough. So to prepare, how do we prepare? So this session today, how I have divided it is there are two things to it. One is the 4 points of preparing a great presentation. Okay. And secondly, the next part is how do you build the content in the presentation? So I will go through this. These are the two broad categories that I have today. And after I've got into this, I will take a lot of questions from you. In the meantime, if you have questions, you can put it out on the chat box or you can keep it till the end and you can put it in the chat box or unmute yourself at the end and when I ask you for questions. So what are the 4 things that we need to take care when we are giving a great presentation? First, know your audience. Know your audience is the first and foremost thing. We'll get into depth in each of this and you have to understand each of this here. Know your purpose, the next one. Know your material, okay? Material as in content, the topic that you're talking about. And know yourself. These are the 4 basic pillars of giving a presentation or public speaking. And if you are an introvert or an extrovert, even if you're afraid, if you know all of this stuff, then it is very, very easy to give a presentation. It's extremely easy. It is not rocket science. It is not something that you need to be afraid. It's just practice, and you can give awesome presentations. Okay, so we'll take each of this in detail. First is knowing what is it, why is it important to know your audience? Why is it important to know your audience? I'll give you a story here. This happened is about 6 months back. I was called up by a college and I had to go to the college and give a presentation on the same topic on public speaking and presentation. So I had to take a seminar on presentation skills and public speaking. So fine, somebody from the college called me up and they gave me all the data and said that you have to come to the college and speak to the students. And when I reached on the particular day, you know what happened? this suddenly I come to understand that it is not for the students, it's for the faculty there. And it is for the faculty that I have to take the presentation. Now understand, I've gone into the presentation on the day of the presentation, I've gone there and I was trying to figure out that, okay, I'll take it for the students. But suddenly somebody said there is a communication gap and you have to take it for the faculty. And that is like a shocker on that particular day. That's like, how will I take a presentation for faculty within 5 minutes of letting me know? And that is the first and foremost understanding that you have to have before you get into a presentation. Who is your audience? Who exactly are you speaking to? Are you speaking? So, for example, if you're a student, you're giving a presentation. Is it for other students in the college or the or school? Is it for the teachers that you're taking? Okay. Is it? Are you giving a presentation to get selected by a particular company or for future studies? Or are you going across, say, you're a school fest or a college fest, you're going across to different companies and trying to get some sponsorship from them for your fest, right? So what is exactly the thing that you're going out for? You have to understand your audience. So this demonstrates that what is the importance of knowing your audience, getting to understand your audience, and how do you tailor it according to your audience. I would again request you people to not use the unnote button on top. Unnote button gives an unnecessary lines on the presentation, so you guys will not be able to see what I am presenting here. Okay, so guys, do not use the unnote button. Okay, Aditya, I'll come to your question at the end. Okay, so there are 5 to 6 key points that you need to understand when you are making an audience profile. Okay, so what is an audience profile? So this is an audience profile. What are the roles and responsibilities that the audience is looking for? What is the age group of the audience? What is the knowledge? Are they coming with a particular set of knowledge? What is the learning styles? I'll come to learning styles. What is the culture? What is the number of participants? And what is the purpose for attending? Okay. So for example, if you're taking it for people in, say, colleges, people say are going to the college, say on an MBA college or a normal college, you're going for your graduation studies, and you're giving a presentation or speaking to people who are there from the different companies. So are you giving that information about what you want to get into regarding that company? That's the roles and responsibilities. That is understanding what your audience wants. What is the age group? Are people very young? Are people extremely old? Are they looking at, say, somebody from, say, 18 to 24, or are people from 50 to 60? Depending on that, you have to customize your entire audience, entire presentation. For example, somebody is a little old, say maybe aged, maybe 55 to 60. If you're giving a presentation to them, then what happens? Then you have to understand that they are not very flexible with the tools, the technologies. So you have to make it a little slow, make it a little more interesting for them. Knowledge base. Do they have a particular background about this kind of presentations? What are the learning styles? Do they learn by listening to people? Do they learn by looking at videos? Do they learn by understanding? Do they learn by experimenting? What is the culture? Are they from, say, India? Are they from US? Are they from Australia? Everybody has a different culture. People from India have a different culture. Within India, people from different regions have different cultures. People from West are different from people from North, from East, from South. So everybody is different. And what is the number of participants? Is it 1 to 1? Is it 1 to 10? Is it 1 to 100? Or is it 1 to 1,000? If it is 1 to 1,000, then your entire presentation changes. If it's 1 to 1, your presentation changes. So that is very, very important. And the final point is, what is it in for me? That is, what are the people, the audience looking at from that presentation? What exactly do they want to drive? For example, you have come here to understand how to make a wonderful, wonderful, awesome presentation, right? So when you are here looking for that, I have to customize it so that I can give you the best that I can, right? So what is it in for me, right? That means, what is it that the audience is looking for? Next is know your purpose. Know your purpose is why are you doing the presentation? Okay. So there are 3 points here. Are you taking a case study or a group discussion? Are you doing a project presentation? Or are you giving a public speaking? Depending on that, you have to ensure that you go ahead. For example, in a group discussion, if you're discussing in a group, that means you're not trying to convince forcefully people. You are actually trying to find out pros and cons of a particular topic. If you give a project presentation, you are telling somebody else what you have discovered, what data you have found out about the particular project. Say you're making a project in school or college. So you're finding data from different places. And if it's a public speaking, it's completely different. It may be motivational public speaking. It can be different public speaking. So what are the different types of presentations that are there? With that, I'll come to this point. First is informational speech. I'll come to what is that. I'll first show all the four: demonstration speech, the motivational speech, and the extempore. Okay. I would again request you guys not to use the note button on the top. It is very, very difficult for others to because they won't be able to see the presentation. Okay. Information is when you are, say, for example, you're giving, suppose I tell you, can you give me a presentation on COVID-19? That's an informational speech that you're giving, right? Next, if I am asking you, suppose you want to demonstrate, you want to get somebody to build a new skill. For example, I am getting you to build a skill on presentation, right? That's a demonstration speech. Motivational speech are people who are motivating people. Like, for example, it's a Tony Robbins, Robin Sharma, right? Shiv Khera. You've heard of all of these guys? So they are motivational speakers, right? Suppose then the next comes is which you're very familiar in schools and colleges when they ask you to take an extempore. An extempore is basically they ask you to tell something on spot without a preparation. So these are the 4 types of presentation that are there. And you have to be prepared for all 4. Extempore, you cannot be prepared. So you need to get some time. But apart from that, all the other 3, informational speech, demonstration, motivational, are required. They require that you take a good amount of preparation. Okay. Know the material. This is again very, very important. 3 points: research, data, and resource, right? Do your research. Do your research. There's Google search. Go to Google. There are books, Google books. You go there, you can find out. There are a lot of journals that are there. If you're in college, you can access a lot of journals from the college library. There are a lot of other ways that you can know the material. Then comes the data and stats. Data and stats is basically if you're doing a research-oriented project, then you give more data. You do a research, you do an experiment and give a data. And resource is you give something to the audience which they can connect, they can come back, they can tell that, okay, I have found this out and this is what the resource says. Next is know yourself. So I will cover this is the final of the 4 pillars: know yourself, your style, your skills, and your weakness. Okay. I'll come to all of your questions. Your question is very, very interesting. Keep the questions coming. I'll come to all of them at the end of today's session. We have a special Q&A for you guys, and we'll come to that. So knowing yourself, okay, is a very, very important part of presentation. What is your style? A style is, for example, you would have seen your teachers or your faculty. Some teachers would be there on the dais. They will be standing in front of the class and taking the presentation. Somebody would be walking around the entire classroom and teaching, right? Somebody would be sitting and teaching. Somebody will be doing an experiment and teaching, right? So those are the styles that you can adapt, right? Those are the different styles that you can adapt when you're giving a presentation. What is your strength and what is your weakness? This is very, very important. Strength is basically what is the most thing that you're confident on. It can be your content, it can be your voice, it can be different things. Weakness, what is the thing that you're least confident on? What you know that it's a trouble for you. For example, many people, especially girls, will have a problem with their voice. The voice will be very low when they're giving a presentation. If that is a weakness for you, you arrange for a microphone. You arrange for a mic so that people can hear you clearly. That's your strength and weakness that you have to understand. And these are the 4 pillars on which any presentation stands. Being an extrovert or an introvert, it does not matter. You have to ensure that you know all of these 4. Okay. So next, so this is the first segment that I was talking on. This is the first part of the presentation. The next part is understanding how you go about the presentation. Okay, very, very important. A presentation means that you are in front of people, right? That is where we get very angry, or we get very sad, we get anxious, we get nervous. And that's the reason, because you're standing in front of everyone. Everybody is looking at you, everybody is seeing you. How do you give a presentation then, right? How do you give a presentation to everybody if all eyes are on you? For that, you have to understand this one very key skill, that's called the body language. Yeah, the middle one is a good posture. The both on the left and the right hand side is not something that that is not something that we want in a presentation. When you're standing in front of people, do not put your head forward, do not slump forward, or do not sway back. You cannot do like this, or you like curl down, your shoulders are like this. Do not do. Keep your shoulders very flat here. Okay, that's a good posture. Keep your spine straight. That gives a lot of confidence. So I'll give you a detail. So this is how you should look, but I should give you a detail about how you should present, right? This is how you should present. Face the audience as much as possible. Now you people will ask me that if I look at somebody directly in the eye, I get very nervous. If I'm looking at people in the eye, I get very nervous. I'll come to that eye contact later. Smile. Do not be like do not frown like this. Do not put your eyebrows together and frown like this, or do not like do something like this. Smile, gentle smile, and give a presentation. Stand up with your shoulders back. Your shoulders should be straight, taut, back. Your spine absolutely straight. Do use your hands. Your hands are here. Use your hands like this. You hold your hands like this, right? Do not do this. Do not do this. Do not put your hands in the pocket. Put your hands like this, right? It's very, very important that you keep your hands in front. Okay. Put your legs should not be very close together or very far apart, right? It should be like at least 1 feet apart from each other, or your shoulder length. So whatever is your shoulder length, you put your feet according to that. Okay. And always take a deep breath and relax. I'll come to relaxation at the end of the presentation. Today we have relaxation at the end of the presentation. Okay. Next is eye contact. That is one crucial thing which all of us miss out, because when we are speaking, when we are actually afraid, we're nervous, what happens is we lose out on eye contact. We feel that if I look somebody in the eye, people will be like, oh, okay, I'm getting afraid, I'm getting nervous, right? So I'll give you one tip for eye contact. The tip is stare at the forehead. Do not look into people's eyes. Do not look into people's eyes when you're presenting. Look at the forehead here. Look here, not in the eyes. Because if you're looking in the eyes, what happens is that you get very like jittery, nervous. But if you look at in the forehead here, stare at the forehead, people will not even understand that you're looking at the forehead. Okay. So initially, when I was giving presentations, very early on, when I started giving presentations in school, I was like, I couldn't maintain eye contact. So this is something that my teacher taught me, that look at the eye, look at the forehead, not at the eye. So when you're looking at the forehead, people still feel that you're looking at them in the eye, but you are actually not looking at them in the eye. And that is a very important trick that you can use when you're giving a presentation. And look at, if it is a crowd of 10, look at everybody. Look at everybody's forehead. Look at, if it is a crowd of 100, you gaze around. You look at everybody so that you can maintain that eye contact continuously. The next important communication technique that I have is on voice. Voice is very clear, has to be very, very important. For example, there are people who have like very low voice, very soft voice. They will speak like this, and they will say, okay, this is what we are going to talk about today. And there are people who will talk very fast. They will go and go on, go on, go on, go on, and they will speak, 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 and they will not stop at all. So there are different ways of you can modulate your voice. You can be very low, you can be very high. You can have a lot of into and energy. You can say, awesome guys, thank you so much. And you can be slow and yet deep. You can be very, very slow and yet very deep in your voice. Or you can be very fast and you can be very quick and you can go around on the presentation. You can click, click, click and go around on the buttons, right? That's the different ways of giving presentations. You should be aware of when and what voice to use. What voice can be used when you're giving a particular presentation? Your enthusiasm has to be high. It has to be like at the top of your top, at the peak, because you have to get that energy to your audience. Okay. Next, this is something very important. This is something very, very important. That is something that I feel all of us do. That is say, okay, next, we have this particular topic. We have to, right? All of us do. Do you do kind of things? You do fillers? These are called filler words. Do you guys do? Can I get some yes or no on the chat box? Do you use all of this stuff? Yeah, next topic is, let me see. Okay, this is right. So that happens. That happens if you are not prepared. That happens if you are not at all prepared with the presentation. And these are called filler words. These are filler words. So how do you do with filler words? I used to have a lot of filler words. When I started off, I used to always have this filler words. Okay, let me see, let me check. And this is something that you also do not understand that is happening. You also do not understand that is happening. So how do you do it? You record yourself. There, you have a mobile phone at home. You record yourself giving a presentation 5 minutes. Yeah, I'm coming to you. I'm telling Avanish, I'm telling you that how to avoid filler words. You take a video, figure out if you're actually doing a filler word. If you're having a filler word, that means you're not at all prepared. You're not prepared with what is coming next. You're not prepared with how to use it. You're very conscious of yourself, right? So the first and foremost, to understand that you're having filler words is to videotape yourself or get in front of your friends, family, whoever, your best friend. Make him or her sit in front of you and you take a presentation. When you take a presentation, this person asks the person, did I use all of this stuff? And when the person says, yes, you used all of this stuff, then it is something that you have to improve on. Filler words will automatically come if you're not prepared at all with the presentation, with the content, which will come a little bit. So we'll come in content the next slide. So if you're not at all informed about what you're speaking, you are not confident about what you're speaking, you will obviously have a lot of filler words. Next, how do you avoid filler words? And in general, how do you present? What is the content that you have to go in for? So the content, we call it the burger. Do you guys have burger? Can I get some yes or no? Do you guys have hamburgers, obviously before the lockdown? Or if you're now at home, maybe you're having burgers. Okay, everyone says they have burgers. Yes, great. Only 2%. Okay, 3, 4, 5. Oh, Aditya says no, he doesn't have burgers. Great. So no problem. We have seen burgers, right? So burger is something like this. A burger is something like this. It has the top bun, right? Then it has the vegetables or the meat or whatever is there in between. And there's a bun at the bottom, right? And this is what a burger is. So if you look at presentation in the way that you're eating a burger, this is what it is. The top bun is the introduction. The next is the body. And the final is the conclusion. So when you are making a burger, you first so you have the introduction there, then you have the body, then you have the conclusion. Similarly, in a presentation, you have to ensure that you have all of these three. Like when we started today, I spoke about a bit of introduction, a bit about myself, a bit about this entire presentation that I have. And then we started on the topic, right? And then we were continuing with the body and we have not yet come to the conclusion. So what is it that you have to keep in the introduction? Okay. Introduction is something that you have to ensure it's very, very catchy, right? So start with introducing yourself. What is it that people want to know about you? Who you are? If you're giving it in a school, then your school or college, then your name, your section, maybe your department, that is good enough. But if you're giving a presentation, say for example, you're going out and you're going out to say you're part of the fest team, fest committee, and you're going out for sponsorship. Okay, so you have to introduce your school or college, right? So introduce yourself. Who are you? Where are you from? Tell them the topic. What is it that you're talking about? What is it that the person can exactly understand, want? Justify the topic. Why is the topic needed? Why is it needed? Give the audience a preview statement. A preview statement is what is expected from this entire presentation. 4 parts, very crisp. You can punch all of this 4 into 2 to 3 slides. That's all. In 2 to 3 slides, you can punch all of this stuff. Okay, so this is very, very important. Next is body. What helps in the body? The body is the content. The body is very, very important. So body has focus on the main points. Focus on each point. You're giving a fact. You explain in detail what is the fact all about. And use a variety of learning styles. So learning styles, I'll tell you what is learning styles. See, people do not learn. All of us, I'll give you this very interesting, very, very interesting. Listen to me very carefully. It is very, very interesting. Okay. People do not learn the same way. Some people learn by listening to people, others. Some people learn by looking at videos, right? Some people learn by experimenting. Broadly, 3 categories. Listening, guys, like there are people who would love to listen to people. So they can listen to their teachers and keep understanding a particular topic. Somebody is very good at looking at stuff and understanding. So if a teacher is presenting on the board or there's a presentation there, the person can look at the presentation and understand. Okay. And some people are very good at experiential learning, that is experiment. So if you do an experiment, if you're a science student, you're doing an experiment, or for example, if you are a commerce student, you're doing some notes, you're taking down some notes and you're making a calculation. That's through experiments, that is through experiential learning. You're doing by hand. So there are 3 things that people look at, people learn. There's 3 ways that people learn. So when you are taking a presentation, ensure that you have all the 3 points, right? Here in Zoom, we have only 2. The 2 is the voice and the particular presentation that is there in front of us, right? We do not have the chance to experiment. We do not have the chance to do something with our hands. And that is something as a negative point of Zoom. But when you're going out and giving a presentation, ensure that you have all of these 3 in the presentation. Finally, we come to the conclusion. The conclusion is very, very important. What is it? What is that message that people are going to take away with? What is the particular thing? Summarize the main points. Whatever you have discussed, summarize the main points. Okay. Incorporate a memorable closing call for action. Okay. I'll come to what is that. Make a list of resources or references. If something you're giving a presentation and you want people to you want some feedback from them, you can also ask for a feedback. Okay. To fill out an evaluation form. And obviously, nothing ends without a Q&A. A Q&A is question and answers. That obviously we have question and answers in this session. So we'll come to all of that. Okay. Yes. Okay. I'll come to all the questions. I have got the questions. I'll come to most of the questions. Okay. So this is how you conclude. Okay. This is how you conclude. So this is the 3 main parts. So first is your introduction. The second is your body. The third is your conclusion. And that has to be clear, crystal clear and crisp. These are the 3 parts. Prepare yourself on all the 3 parts and give it during the presentation. Next we come, because to in this today's scenario, or not even in today's scenario, in today's world, all of us are looking at presentations on computer, right? We have, say, a gadget, we have a USB port, we have a laptop. So we usually give a presentation using all of these tools, right? So these are called visual aids. So you have to also understand the importance of visual aids in presentation. So this is the visual aid. Somebody has a chart, it's a whiteboard. You can give a printout of, say, whatever your topic you're presenting. If you have something, write it down beautifully. You can Xerox it. Say you can make a copy, say 100 copies for 100 audiences, 100 people in the audience, and give it out. You have a pen drive. Okay. You have a laptop and an LCD projector. right? And the importance here is you have to understand that these are all visual aids which are technical, right? So pen drive is a technical stuff, laptop is a technical stuff. I know for sure that when I go and take presentations, what happens, I go to the presentation, I see that there is a power cut. Now what happens? I go to the presentation, I go to a school or a college, I am about to write on the board, and then I see that the marker doesn't have ink. What happens? I take my pen drive, I go there, and then suddenly I figure out my pen drive has crashed. I don't have my presentation on the pen drive. These are things, these are practical things you have to keep in mind when you're giving a presentation. In a presentation, you have to ensure that you come to the presentation hall, or if you're going out and giving a presentation, you have 5 minutes before that to check all of this stuff. Suppose, for example, you're taking a presentation on the pen drive, upload it on your Google Drive. Keep it uploaded on the Google Drive, so that if your pen drive fails, you can go to your mobile, you can go to Google Drive, you can download it and give the presentation. If you have a laptop or a LCD projector, right, ensure that it is working. Sometimes it happens that maybe it happens with the schools or colleges that you are giving a presentation on a LCD projector, the colors are not coming out fine. So whatever is mentioned in blue in your presentation is coming out as red, right? So how do you have to ensure that all of these things come, okay? And all of this are very important when you're giving a presentation, okay? So broadly, this is the area that we are looking at. And coming back, so I'll keep it very short. I will finish it off in the next couple of minutes, and then I will open it for questions. The final thing that I have for today is something that all of us, what we started with. We started with the fact that all of us feel nervous during a presentation. All of us feel very stressed during a presentation. All of us feel very anxious during a presentation, right? So do you guys want to know how to come out of the stress? Can I get some yes on the chat box or a no on the chat box? Do you guys want to know how to come out of stress? Do you want to understand that if you're very tensed, how do you ensure that you're not tensed at all? How just before the presentation, how do you relieve your anxiety? Okay, a lot of people saying yes. Great. Thank you guys. Awesome. You guys are awesome. Thank you. So we'll come to this part, which is my final stuff. This is what you need to do to relieve your stress. First, practice. I've again told you need to be very careful about content. You need to ensure that you know your content very properly. Okay, get feedbacks from your friends, co-workers, if you're not, so your students, from your friends, your teachers, your parents, your relatives, whosoever, right? Okay, somebody's again using that. Be realistic. Suppose you're giving a presentation for the first time or the first couple of times. Do not think that you will be like Shiv Khera. Do not be like you will be like top of the game. You have to keep yourself very realistic. You have to understand that this is your first or the second or the third presentation. You have to understand that until and unless you give at least 20 presentations to 25 presentations, you will not be very confident on what you're saying. You have to understand that. Set a realistic goal. People, all of us are something like this. Okay, I have made a presentation. I will just directly go on spot and say whatever comes to my mind. That does not happen at all. Okay, that will cause a lot more stress in you. Use techniques like deep breathing. Deep breathing, I will give you this example, this thing of deep breathing. When you're doing a deep breathing, this is called the 4-2-6. Okay, understand, this is called the 4-2-6 method. On 4 counts, you take a deep breath. Okay, count to 4. Okay, so count 4 while you're taking a deep breath, right? Like this. Hold it for a couple of seconds, 2 seconds. So hold the breath for 2 seconds, and then you exhale for 6 seconds. So that is the way that you can relieve a lot of stress. This takes hardly 30 seconds of your time. 30 seconds of your time it takes, but it can relieve a lot of stress. This is called a 4-2-6 method. The 4-2-6 method you can use. Take a deep breath for 4 seconds. Okay. Hold it for 2 seconds and release it for the next 6 seconds. Okay. The 4-2-6 method. Do it and you will see that you will feel more relaxed. I'll give you another technique. Suppose you when you're getting into presentation, you have this, say, headache, or you are having this anxiety in your mind, right? How do you relieve all this stress in your face? Squeeze your eyebrows like this. Squeeze your eyebrows. Squeeze it like this. Okay, and keep squeezing it. Okay, when you keep squeezing it, you squeeze it for, say, 15 seconds or 20 seconds. Okay, and then you relax it, release it. You will see that a lot of stress that is here will go away. Okay, this is very basic tips that you can use, and obviously encourage yourself before getting into the presentation. Always get into a presentation with the mindset that you can do it. You can do it. There's nothing rocket science about it. I could not give a presentation when I was in school, and even in college I could not give a presentation when I was in college. I used to, like, whenever somebody used to call me for presentation, I used to go away. I used to say, okay, no boss, I'm not giving any more presentations today. And now I'm giving presentation every day, right? So that is important. You have to keep on practicing. You have to know exactly what is happening. Okay. And with this, I think with this, we'll come to the Q&A part. We'll come to the Q&A part. So thank you guys. Thank you all for being with me. We will open it for Q&A. We have a lot of questions that are there. Can somebody read it out? Siddharth maybe can read it out, and I can take the questions one by one. Okay. Shilpa says sometimes
Yes,
many things come together to complete or submit. In that situation, how to deal with stress?
Hello?
Shilpa, thank you for this question. This is something that is called time management, and you cannot keep presentations at the end. All of us, I'll tell you, there is this TED video, TEDx talk. You have heard of TEDx? You guys have heard of TEDx? TEDx. Okay. So if you have not heard of TEDx, yes, people have heard of TEDx. Go to the TEDx video on procrastination. Go to the TEDx video on procrastination. You will see it's an awesome way of how people actually procrastinate. What happens is that they will keep everything till the end, till the very end. They will keep it, and then they will say, okay, I don't have time. Don't allow that to happen. Do not allow that to happen. Space yourself. Suppose you have to give a presentation, say, in 5 days time. You ensure that you are complete within 3 days. The 4th day, you practice with your friends, your families, and then you go and give a presentation. Okay, great. Okay, next question. Okay, yeah, Siddharth, please, can you read out the questions? I will
yes,
I
sir.
will give the answers from there.
So there is a question from Drashti Shah. How to avoid panicking while giving an extemporaneous speech?
Okay, you cannot not panic. That means you will obviously panic. You have to understand you will panic. It's an extempore. Even everybody panics. All of us who are seniors also, even if your teachers are there, everybody who has to give an extempore will panic. Only thing is to not panic. Extempore will give you 30 seconds to 1 minute to just think about what you're trying to say, right? So in that very basic 30 seconds to 1 minute, think of 3 things, not more. Just 3 things on the topic. Think about just 3 things on the topic. Point number 1, point number 2, and point number 3. And when you have these 3 things on the topic, you will see that you can give a much better presentation, even if it's an extempore. 3 things, A, B, C. You understand these 3 things. Now, for each of this, say point number A, you explain in detail about point A. Point number B, explain in detail about point B. Point number 3, explain in detail about point 3 or C. That is how you give an extempore. But understand that you are not somebody like Shiv Khera or Tony Robbins or Robin Sharma. You cannot give an extempore without getting panicked. You will obviously get panic. You have to understand that you'll get panic. And once you understand that you'll get panic, take a deep breath, the 4-2-6 method. Think about the 3 steps, 3 things that you are going to speak about and speak. That's all. Okay, Siddharth, next question, please.
So next question is from Janil, that uh, can we ask some questions or suggestions to audience to make audience enthusiastic?
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely, yes. How did I start my presentation? Did you guys look at how I started my presentation? The first thing that I said after introducing myself was asking you a question, right? And in between also, I asked you a lot of questions. That is the power. That is exactly how you have to keep it. You have to have questions in your presentations. I cannot see you guys. This is Zoom. You can only see me. I cannot see you guys, right? So how will I know you're there in the audience, right? So you have to understand that when you're asking questions, ask a question, short questions, not something like a textbook history question. Don't do that. Something that is very short, sweet. Ask questions, expect some answers. Thank you. Next question.
The next question is from Darsh Chetwa, that sir, what is the best way to present our project so that no one feels bored?
No one feels bored.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So here you can look at having some, this is called humor. You can use a lot of humor in your presentation. If it's a very important or a serious topic, like for example, say COVID, or say for example, or on some very, very serious economic topics, you cannot use humor. But apart from that, you can use a lot of humor on a topic. Okay. So use humor, and that will ensure that people do not get bored. The second way is look at their eyes, eye contact. Keep the eye contact continuously going on. Okay. Look at the forehead. Don't look at the eye. Look at here. Look at here. People will not even realize that you're looking at the forehead. People will think you're looking at the eyes. But look at here, the forehead. Okay. And you will see that people will maintain that eye contact. And people, so how do you, for example, you're in school or college, right? So when your teachers are taking a class, they keep looking at you, right? So they keep looking at you continuously. That's the eye contact that you have to maintain. Okay. And obviously the content is very important. If you are not good with content, people will not appreciate what you're saying. Okay. Siddharth, next question.
The next question is from Monil Khankara.
Okay.
Sir, sometimes people ask questions which need time to think. And sir, during that time, we just cannot stop. So how to gain time in such a condition?
I did not get the question, but if somebody is asking you questions and you need time to think, and if it's say you're presenting say in front of the class or in front of somebody, you can take 15 seconds, 10 to 15 seconds. You can obviously take. That is something that you can take and you can present. So 10 to 15 seconds, take, recollect yourself and give an answer. If you need more time, you have to say, be honest. You can say, okay, this is something that I need more time to answer. So can I come back to you, say at the end of the session? Can I come back to you tomorrow? Or can I come back to you later? You can obviously say that. Nobody will take an offense. Nobody will tell you anything. You can obviously say that. Okay, next.
Sir, next question is that, sir, we try our best to not make it boring, but then too many people does. Is it the way of speaking or background? What should be done in that case? Because we get demotivated.
Absolutely. So see, this is something that has to be with eye contact. This is eye contact and your body language. So if you are like very laid back, you're taking a presentation like this. Okay, you're laid back. Nobody will even want to hear you. But if you're right here, people, you're connecting with people, you are talking to people, you are changing your voice. You're changing your voice. You are speaking sometimes very slow. Sometimes you're speaking very fast. Sometimes you're high pitched. Sometimes you're low pitched. Right. So all of this kind of modulation, when you do, people will feel attracted to your presentation because this is drama, right? When you're different voice modulation, you are using your hands, you're speaking, you're using, say, presentation, you're sometimes using a prop. So suppose, for example, a pen I have. So if I am giving a presentation with a pen with in front of me, so people will get attracted to all of this stuff. So you have to ensure that you use your hands, your eyes, your face, your voice, all of this, and obviously your content to ensure that people don't get bored. Okay, next question.
Next question is, what proportion of text, images, and data should be used in a PPT presentation?
Okay. So there is a thumb rule that I follow. Thumb rule is whenever you're giving a presentation, the best font size is about between 40 to 60. The best font size is between 40 to 60. Do not go below anything below 25. Do not have a font size below 25. Okay. Ensure that your font size is between 40 and 60. That means each of your slide will have like very few words, or maybe 2 to 3 or 4 sentences that your slide will have maximum. If there is something more that you have, then you break it up into different slides. Okay. You obviously, if you give images, you put a lot of images, it is good enough, but the image quality has to be good. You cannot have an image which is not a proper good quality image. Put good quality images, put your fonts. Do not make it something less than 25. Do not make a font size less than 25. That's a thumb rule. Okay, next.
So next question is from Avinash, that he asked that how to remove the scare.
Oh, that is something that you have to practice. I have only one answer for you. Practice, 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 practice. And I'll tell you two kinds of practice. Okay. The first practice that you have to do is at your home. Okay. Or your friends, or with your relatives, or maybe your teachers, if teachers are willing to give time to you. Practice at your home. Okay. The second practice is if you're giving a presentation in a classroom. Okay. Or you're giving a presentation in, say, in a hall. You get into the hall either one day earlier or 40 minutes earlier into the hall. Okay. And you go to the place where you're supposed to give a presentation. You stand there and look at the empty hall or look at the empty classroom. Okay. See how it feels. Okay. Do this either one day earlier or do this on the day, say 40 minutes or 1 hour in advance. Because you need to get that confidence, because the moment you're standing in front of an audience, it is something very different from you. You're usually sitting down and you're looking at the board. Now what is happening is the board is behind you. You're looking at the classroom, and that creates the scare. So use at home. You do a practice. Go to your presentation place, your classroom or your hall, and you get in there 1 hour earlier or 40 minutes earlier, and you go around, roam around the place. You stand where you're supposed to stand, so that people can you can feel that confidence building up in you. Okay, next question.
So next question from Dia Aswani.
Okay.
She asked us that how to explain a presentation with realistic, practical, or current examples that can really help the speaker to make an imprint on the audience.
She has answered the question itself. So she has already given what are the things that you have to keep in mind when you have to make it realistic. Yes, you have to give a lot of examples. You have to give a lot of examples, but you have answered your own question.
So next question is from Meena Naik. Though I am fully prepared, but when I go on the stage, I forgot everything. I become blank.
Yes, that's the scare. That happens with everybody. That is what I said. Two kinds of practice. One practice is when you're at your home, and second practice is on stage or in front of the class. If the class, pick a time when the classroom is empty. Go there, stand in front of the class, and give a presentation to the blank classroom. Give a presentation to the blank classroom. You'll see that there is you forget because you are not confident, and second, you're nervous or anxious, right? So what you do is you go to the classroom, you stare at the wall at the back. Do not even look. If you're not confident of looking at the faces, look at the back of the hall. Look at the back of the class. Look at the back wall. Okay, and give the presentation. That is a good way of presenting for the first or second time. So initially, when you're presenting, you do that. Okay, next question.
So next question is from Ria Sani, that she asked how to start and end the presentation impactfully, even how to seek audience attention throughout the presentation.
Okay, how to start? So this is the three things that I said: the body, the intro, the body, and the conclusion. You start your presentation stating your name, where you're from. You present the entire the gist of what is happening. Give a brief agenda about what is happening. That's the intro. Then you go on to the main presentation and end it by recapping what you have done. So whatever you have done, you recap and you say that this is what we have learned today and this is how we're going to end.
So next question is from Jahanvi Kotecha. That sir, we normally have to have that situation. We already have an impression on audience because of our elder sibling. So how to overcome that impression and give a presentation more impactful?
Do not worry about impressions. Do not worry about impressions. Nobody is bothered about your impression as much as you are bothered about your impression. If you're, say, suppose for example, you're going out to shop, right? You're going out. So now you cannot go out, obviously, because of COVID and lockdown. But suppose you're going out and just shopping, right? So you dress up in your best dress. You're going to the shopping mall. Okay. You have this wonderful jeans, you have this wonderful shirt, and you go there. You are very conscious about how you look. Do you think other people are very interested in how you look? I don't think so. And that is because you are trying to make yourself impressible, right? You're trying to make yourself that, okay, I need to impress people. No, it's not about that. You do not need to think about what others will think, what others, your family members will think, what your parents will think, what your sisters or brothers will think. Not required at all. It is you. Nobody is bothered about how you at all. So you go ahead and give a presentation. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. How much? It will happen for the first time, second time, third time, fourth time, fifth time. I have failed in presentations for 20 times. I have failed in a presentation for 20 times. I know for a sure that when I was giving my so first I used to avoid presentations. I didn't used to go to school at all. So finally, when I was supposed to give a presentation, I had to go to school. I stood up in front of the classroom and could not speak for 10 minutes. I just stood there and just kept mum. I just kept mum like this. I couldn't speak at all. And that is very, very important to understand that you will not be a hero from presentation number 1. You'll at least have to go to 20 presentations to ensure that you are up to the mark. Okay. Do not bother about what others are thinking about you. Do not at all be bothered. Okay. Shudat, next question.
The next question is from Janil. Can we ask some questions or suggestions to audience to make audience enthusiastic, or not to ask because they will feel nervous?
No, I have already answered the question. I think this was the first question that he said. So yes, you can obviously ask questions.
Next question is from Neeraj. That sir, what if the audience starts ignoring what is presented? What should be done in this case, even if we have followed everything, which is need?
Come again. I couldn't get you. Come again.
Sir, what if the audience starts ignoring what is presented? What should be done in this case, even if we have followed everything which is needs to be done?
Okay, so here you have to engage the audience, right? So here you have to engage the audience. How do you engage the audience? Engage the audience. Number 1, you can ask questions. Like I said earlier, you ask a lot of questions to get the audience engaged. Second is play some games. There are a lot of games, or there are a lot of ways that you can engage the audience. For example, you can have an activity. Okay, an activity is something like, for example, related to your topic. Suppose you are giving a presentation on a particular topic, say in literature, right, or maybe in science, right? So you pick up a game related to that particular topic, and you play that game with everybody in that audience, or at least some people in the audience. So when you're playing a game, you actually engage the audience more and more. So that is how you engage the audience. Your audience will feel bored if you have a very monotonous tone and you just go on like this, and you do not think about what people are saying. You just go on and go on and go on like this. If you're going on like this, people will definitely get bored. But if you can use your volume, you can pitch your content, your way of presenting, people will not at all get bored in the presentation. Okay, next question.
Sir, next question is the presentation justified by taking audience as examples? Is that good interaction?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You can ask your audience for examples. Absolutely, yes. Very valid one. Very, very valid point. You have to ask your audience for interactions, questions, involve them, and do all of this stuff. That is definitely helpful.
So next question is that how to get great presentations for formal business?
How to get great presentations for
Formal business.
Formal business. I think this is a question that is, I think, not for all of us here. This is more on business presentations, which is completely different, a little bit of different. So if somebody is interested in particular stuff, they can get in touch with me. You can get in touch with me separately. This is not for I think the audience here.
Next question. How will you sell a pen? Sir, I want you to perform it so I can learn something which can help in interviews by this is the question by
This is interview skill. This is interview skills, and this is something that people will ask you to sell. But again, this is out of topic today. I can give you a sales. I have a sales background, so I have been in sales. I have been with Citibank for a very long time. I have been in sales in my business. So sales is very close to my heart, but this is something that is out of topic here. If I have to sell this pen, there are different ways of selling the pen. You can look at value, you can look at cost, you can look at the features that are there. It can look at how all of the features of the pen are useful to this particular person in front of you. You can tell them about the qualities of the pen. You can tell them about that this is super smooth. You can tell them about it's a 0.4 on the top. You can tell them about the color, how the color matches with their maybe glass. Okay, this black color matches with your glass. There are different ways of selling a pen, but this is not the way. This is not the place to give you a sales speech. But anyways, if you are interested, again, you can get in touch with me. I can give you some tips on making a sale. Okay, so fine. Next.
Sir, we can prepare ourselves with data when we are informed beforehand. But what should we do about presentation when we are told to speak on the spot?
Extempore always 3 points. Don't think about anything else. 3 points. Point A, point B, point 3. And think about for 15 seconds. People will give you 15 seconds to think. That much they will give. 15 seconds, think of 3 points, write down 3 points. Okay, so how do you think about 3 points? Okay, I'll give you 2 points. I'll give you how do you think about these 3 points. First is, suppose it's a topic. Okay, topic like, for example, should lockdown so should we close should we go back to our schools and colleges, or should we stay at home? If suppose this is a topic that you are given, okay, during lockdown, okay, so after lockdown. So what is it? First point, what is it against the topic that you can speak? Okay, so one on against the topic, should we go to school or not? One is for the topic. So if this is a question, against the topic is we stay back at home. For the topic is we go to school. So 1 point each of this. And the third point, you can take it up, say, for example, from the news, whatever, say, for example, lockdown. So what is the statistics from across the globe? What is happening across the globe? And that is 1 point, 1 point for the topic, 1 point against the topic. So there are 3 points. So think about 3 points in an extempore speech. A 3 point will give you enough information to speak for 2 to 3 minutes. And that is good enough for extempore.
So next question is that can we use kinesics, and if yes, then how?
You can use kinesics, so you can use all of this stuff, but it depends on how the audience is receptive. If the audience is receptive enough, you can use it. If the audience is not receptive enough, then do not use it.
Yes, sir. Next question is from Arin. What is the main proportion of for presenting? Is it for testing our skills or our creativity?
Presentation. Okay. Presentation is about presentation is about the topic. The presentation is about what you're trying to drive at. What is the goal that you have in a presentation? Is it just like I said, there are four types: demonstration type, information type, motivational type, and extempore type. So are you giving a presentation to give information? Are you giving a presentation to help them build a knowledge? For example, this is a topic that we're having right now. This is for building a knowledge, a new skill. Is it for a motivational? Am I giving a motivational speech here? No. But is it for motivation? There's some bit of motivation here. Is an extempore. So depending on what is your goal, the objective, you have to accordingly modify yourself, your presentation according to that. And only then you will be able to get the best presentation.
Yes, sir. So next question is from Tanvi Patel. That many times the audience is not interested or they are distracted. How to gain their attention without shouting?
Okay, so this is what I said. This is what I said. Ask questions, play games, ensure eye contact, and use your hand, body language a lot. So that these are the four things. These are the four things that you have to keep in mind when you're taking a presentation.
So, next question is from Kushi. Sir, we can prepare ourselves with data when we are informed before, and
I think this is done.
this is done.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is there any book we can refer to create a good presentation? Like I know about presentation, uh, then but it's too tough to start.
The best way to present is to use Google. Right now, do not go for a book. Go to Google. Go to Google and search. For example, you're giving a topic. For example, the topic say is a science topic, right? So go to Google, find out the contents about the science topic. Go to Google, you will get themes. So theme is basically the presentation style, right? So you can put a theme there. Okay, the Microsoft PowerPoint themes are there. You can find out, go to Google and understand what are the different ways that you can involve involve the audience with. There are different ways that you can put the presentation. There are different font size that you can put. There are different fonts that you can put. Okay, so do not put very flowery fonts or something like this, very curved or very flowery. Put fonts which are visible, which you can actually look at and understand. People from the back, say if you are giving it in a classroom of 100 people, so the person at the end of the classroom should be able to see what is there on the presentation, right? So use a font that is very, very good. So all of these are there in Google. No need to buy any books. Go to Google and search. Go to Google and search. They will find lots of websites who can give you very, very good information about presenting.
Sir, next question is from Aditya Gired. He asked that how to give a story presentation.
Huh?
How to give a story? How to give a story presentation?
Story presentation. Okay. Okay. So I'll give you a story. So how many of you are here from schools and how many from college? So if you're from a school, say school, write down school on the chat box. If you're from a college, write down college from the chat box. Can I get some school or college? Okay, so majority are from school and some people from college. Okay, so great. So school will be measured. So I'll give you a story. I'll give you a story. Even if you're in school, you can understand the story. So this story goes like this. When I was giving, my interviews for getting into a company, so I had an interview scheduled. So when I was giving this interview, when I was in my college, I went into that interview and I couldn't speak at all in the interview. I just went there and found very scared and anxious, and like I was like scratching my head. I couldn't even answer a single question in the interview. I went to the interview, sat down. I barely said my name. My name is Abhishek, and then Datta, I said. And then whatever question was thrown to me, I couldn't even give a single answer. Okay. Then what happened? So this was an internship interview that I was giving. So internship, I had to give an interview. So now finally I gave interviews in about 20 interviews. I gave 20 to 25. I did not get selected in any interview. Zero. Not a single interview I got selected. I was like, oh my God, I didn't get selected in 25 companies. What will I do with my life? Right. And then I just felt very, very sad. I felt very dumb. I felt that I will not be able to do anything in my life. I felt that why did I even go for a graduation, because I couldn't even give an interview. Then what happened? I started a little bit of preparation. And believe it or me, when the final placement came, I got selected in the first company I appeared for. You know how? I gave a story during that particular interview session. I gave a story during that particular interview session. So that interview, when it was happening, I went into the interview and I gave a story about So the question was, what are your strength and weakness? Something of that sort. This was the question. I said the strength that I have, and then I started off with a story about the past bad experience I had and how I did a lot of preparation for this interview and then overcame all of this stuff. And now I'm sitting in front of again the placements in front of the company and answering questions. So I give them a story saying that I had a very tough time. I failed in 25 interviews. I failed in 25 interviews, but then I started preparing. I started building in more confidence. I started speaking to a lot of people, my fellow friends, my fellow classmates. I spoke to all of them. And then I prepared myself so that right now I'm sitting in front of you. And that's my strong point. My strength is learning. And that is how I answered this question, right? And when I answer the question in this way, what happens is that I am telling a story to the person in front of you, right? Right now, I told a story to you, right? So all of you are hearing about the story. So a story, when you're saying a story should first have a big dip. A dip is when everything fails, when nothing works according to what you want to get, right? You are a big failure. So your story starts from here. It's a big failure. And then how you overcome all of these failures and you go up, go up, go up, go up, go up. And then you finally have the climax here, right? That's the purpose of a story. You start from a failure and then you go into a climax. That is how you create a story. So whenever you're telling a story to your audience, ensure that you start with a very place where you are like you have failed a lot of times. And then you build on it, you practice, build on it, build the story, and then you get into the bigger picture where you have succeeded. That is how you tell a story. Great. Okay. Any other questions that you guys have?
So 13 more questions are there, sir.
13 more questions. Okay, great. So shoot
Sir,
one by one.
Question from Monil Khatkara that, sir, if it is a group presentation, if we have one person not prepared, what to do in that case?
If a person is not prepared, then you have to get him or her to prepare. Tell him or her to prepare, or else, see, if it's a group presentation, the person is not prepared at all, then you have to tell the person that either you prepare, this is a teamwork, this is not a single person's job, it's a teamwork. Either you prepare or you say that you will not give the presentation and you can stand outside or stand away from the presentation table and you do not get involved in the presentation. Okay. So you have to understand that if somebody is not prepared, your entire group will go for a toss. So you have to understand that, and then you have to figure that out. You have to tell the other person that, boss, why don't you prepare? You are also getting the marks. It is not me who is getting the marks. You are getting the marks as well. Okay. And that is how you tell the person. And if the person is still not preparing, still not prepared, after multiple times, you can speak to somebody senior and they will help you out. Great. Next question.
The next question is that, sir, is it necessary to start presentation with intro only, or we can use any creative way to do so?
Yes, absolutely. Create different ways of starting a presentation. You can start a presentation with intro. You can start a presentation with a question. You can start a presentation with a game. You can start a presentation with activity, jumping. So when I do, so we cannot do it in Zoom right now, but when I give a presentation, I can start with a jumping activity. So what I do is I say, everybody put your hands up here and you start just jump here. So what it does is it brings a lot of energy into the audience. It brings a lot of energy into the audience, right? So I say, okay, guys, why don't you clap your hands? Why don't you clap your hands like this? So there are different ways of giving a presentation, right? You can start in a different way, but start, if you're giving an activity, you're starting by clapping or you're folding your hands like this. Ensure that is for hardly 30 seconds or 40 seconds, and then you jump into introduction. That is how you start.
Yes, sir. So next question is how to make people connect to your speech and take it more seriously.
I think I have answered the question. I have answered the question earlier.
If we do not have interest in the topic you have got,
I'm not able to hear, voice cracked in between. Can you repeat it?
if you don't have an interest in the topic you have got, How can you deliver a good presentation?
You do not need to have an interest in the topic. You need to understand what the topic is all about. You need to understand your content and deliver. See, you will not have interest in all topics that you deliver. Obviously, you will not have, because you're in school or college. You will be given a topic that you may not have interest in. So you have to, but you have to understand that this is a topic that you have to deliver on. And when you have to deliver on that topic, you have to go ahead, research, and do the topic. You cannot be demotivated because you don't like. For example, you do not like, say, medicines. If it's a very say bitter medicine, you do not like it, but that is good for your health, right? So somebody is asking you for something, it may be good for you. So go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it. At least the first 20 presentations, you will anyways fail. So go ahead and do a presentation which you do not like and fail, because only after you fail for multiple times, you will come out much stronger, much confident, and much, much better. So that is the way to get into a presentation. Yes. Next question, Siddharth.
So next question is how to become stressless when we are given the topic on the spot.
Use the 4-2-6 method. 4 seconds of deep breathing, 2 seconds of hold, and then 6 seconds of release. You do that before a presentation, do it for say 3 or 4 times total. You will see that you are a lot more relaxed. Second, when you are standing in front of the classroom and you are like you're feeling very like your legs are numb, use your thumb, the thumb on your toes, the toe thumb, okay, the big toe. You flex it. You just move the big toe a little bit up and down, up and down, up and down. Okay. When you move your big toe up and down, you'll see that you release a lot of stress in your legs. Do it right now. Your leg, the big toe on your leg, on your foot, just move it up and down, up and down. You will see a lot of relaxation in your legs, right? So that is what happens when you're giving a presentation. If you're very, very scared, tired, or very anxious, do this particular couple of exercises and you will be like jumping up and down. I can give you another example of another way to become less scared or to become less anxious. That is, before taking a presentation, you jump up and down. I can give you this. I do this a lot of times. Just before giving a presentations, you go into go to the washroom or go behind where somebody is not looking. Jump up and down. You'll see a lot of energy that comes into you. You will see a lot of energy that comes into you. So we go ahead, jump up and down. Just actually have to jump. You have to jump up from the floor and come back. Jump up from the floor and come back. So when you do that, you'll see a lot of energy that comes into you. If you guys are feeling, you guys are at your home, why don't you stand? All of you stand up and do some jump. Jump for a couple of times. So 5-6 times you jump, you'll see that you have more energy in you to do the next job.
So next question is that how to manage time during presentation.
That is, you have to practice. You have to ensure that you practice. You cannot have say 50 slides and you want to get it done in 15 minutes. If it's 15 minutes, you will have to have maximum say 10 slides. If it's half an hour, you have to have maximum up to say 17 or 20 slides. That's all. So total 17 to 20 slides is good for half an hour. Okay. You have to always practice. That's the only thing that you have to. So time management is, again, if you do not practice, you will get overboard. You will get, either you will finish before time. If it's 30 minutes, you'll finish in 15 minutes, or if it's 30 minutes, you will finish up in 1 hour. So neither of that is good for you. So practice. And while practicing, use your mobile phone cameras to record yourself so that you can also look back and see what went right and what can be improved. Okay, great. Next question.
Next question is that, sir, if we have to show more information in less slides, then what font sizes are suitable?
Don't put more information on less slides. Do not put more information on less slides. At least do not use anything less than 25 font size. Do not use anything less than 25. Good is 40 to 60 font slides. Okay? Do not put more information. People do not want to read what is there on the slide. People want to listen to you. People will not read what is there on the slide unless and until you tell them, see, look at the slide, this is what is there. People will mostly listen to you. And when people are listening to you, you need to ensure that you're giving them the content. Great. Next question.
So next question is that During the preparation of presentation, how to motivate group members to work on the presentation.
Motivation. So what is the motivation? If Marx is the motivation, then Marx is the motivation. If the motivation is that you want to look good in front of the classroom, that's the motivation. So when you're motivating people, you have to ensure that you know what they want. Do they want something like they're doing it for marks, or are they doing it for speaking in front of the class, getting themselves more like a public figure in front of the class, becoming more famous, or if you're going out and giving a presentation for, say, your sponsorship, are you trying to get some money? What is it that you're getting going for? What is the goal that you have in the presentation? So know your purpose. We started with know your purpose. There's know your audience and know your purpose. What is it that you are going for? That will help you a lot. Okay, how many questions are there?
So 3 more are there.
Okay, 3 more. Okay, so we are almost on time, maybe short by another 10 minutes. We were supposed to end at 15, it's not 25. So another 5 minutes, we'll be done. Okay, three
So next
questions.
question, yes sir. How much time or days is required to make a presentation on any topic for a normal person?
How much time is required?
Yes, sir.
5 days. Start your presentation making before 5 days. 3 days to make a presentation, 1 day to practice, and 1 day to like go again, go through, make any changes. 3 days to make the presentation. You need at least 3 days to make a presentation, good presentation. Okay, so that you have to ensure that you give at least 3 days for the presentation to just prepare the presentation. 1 day for practice, and 1 day you keep in reserve, which is to be used, say maybe to make some changes or last minute stuff and all of this stuff. So 5 total days you need for a good presentation.
So next question then, what do you think makes a public speaker great?
This is important. So a public speaker, first is body language. Okay, how am I speaking? How is my face? How are my hands playing out? How is my eye contact? So have you heard of Toastmasters? Guys, can I get some yes or no on the chat box? Have you guys heard of Toastmasters? Toastmasters? Kavita says yes. Okay, Drashti says no. Okay, no, yes, no, yes. So there is something called Toastmasters. Go to the Google search, type out Toastmasters, Toastmasters. They give a fabulous amount of practice in public speaking. And you go to YouTube and search for the best speeches on Toastmasters. You will see how a person speaks. The person starts with an intro. The person has a story. The person uses his hands. The person uses the eye contact. The person can use a prop like this, a pen. There are different ways of engaging with the audience. Your body language, how do you walk? Are you just standing in front of the audience? Or are you just moving around inside the audience? Are you moving around on stage with the audience? On the stage in front of the audience. So how are you engaging with the audience? When you are a public speaker, you need to ensure that the audience feels connected. So you have to ensure all of this: body language, your story, how you start. If you're using a prop, your face, your eye contact, your content, everything matters. Everything matters. Go to Toastmasters, go to YouTube, search for Toastmasters, the best speeches in Toastmasters, and you will see wonderful. So Toastmasters World Championship is there. There's Dhananjay Hetirachi, who is a very good speaker. You go find it out, Dhananjay. So you go out and see that video on YouTube. So it has to be, you have to have all of these qualities when you want to be a public speaker. But again, practice. These people have practiced for 10 years, 12 years, 15 years. They have practiced to become where they are. You have heard of Sheep Khera? Sheep Khera has been practicing for the last 30-45 years. So they've been practicing a lot, and that is what makes them good, right? So you cannot expect that you'll be good immediately from today. You practice today, you will be good after 1 month. Okay, great. Next question. I think the final question we have.
Sir, now with this we come to an end of today's session. Sir,
Okay.
your session was really awesome, and we are getting a great feedback on your session. Thank you so much for your time and fabulous insights. It was a great learning for all of us. We would love to have a longer session. Sincere gratitude for today's time. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Siddharth. Thank you so much. You guys have been awesome audience. I have got so many questions. I didn't expect so many questions. You have a lot of questions. I think I've answered most of your questions. If there are any other questions that are pending, you can route it through Siddharth or Kavita ji, and it will come directly to me. Thank you guys for being wonderful audience. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. It was really, on YouTube also, we are getting so positive response that it is the best we have attended any session on presentation skills. It was very impactful. Sunanda,
Thank you, Kavita ji.
Abhishek, it was really an awesome presentation. In fact, I am getting so many responses on the YouTube, Zoom, WhatsApp. Everyone is so happy. And someone has said, this is the best ever presentation that we have seen that. So thank you so much for your time. I hope, we could do a justice to your presentation by picking up the people, right kind of people to that. Well,
Absolutely.
it was really
Everyone was awesome. Everyone was good.
so you were actually so much connecting with the people, and even I was looking at Siddharth, how many questions are there, it was going on, and at last we have to actually announce that we are stopping the questions, otherwise it was still pouring in.
Okay.
Okay, students have asked, is there a possibility that they can take your presentation, if you can share the presentation with them? So I have
Sure.
to, right, thank you.
I
Well,
can give the presentation now. Yeah.
right. Well, Abhishek, how do we do is, this is the 9 days program that we are doing for the students. And, from today we are starting on the stage 2, wherein we are getting a little more intense on this. And every day we have 2 winners who are there for from the prizes and everything. So today's winners, maybe if you can just tell us which 2 questions have really given you a tough, not a tough time, but you enjoyed answering them. So that would be, we will announce those winners. I know, yeah.
Okay, that's a very difficult. All of the questions were different and varied, so it is very difficult for me to pick a particular couple of questions. It's very difficult because all of them were eager to ask a lot of questions. But I think the question which a couple of people had questions on overcoming their fear. I think that is something that is very important. How do you overcome a fear in a presentation? I think that is something that is very crucial. We have to understand how do you overcome fear, and that is the question that I would like to say is that I get a lot, and that is something that is very important actually for a presentation to be made.
Perfect. And another question which was really enjoyable to answer.
Another question was okay. Ah, the font size. The font size is an interesting question. That is something that not many people ask, but that is interesting. That is something that is extremely important when you're giving a presentation to more than 10 people. More than 10 people, if you're giving a presentation in front of the classroom, your font size cannot be small. So that is a good question that somebody asked. So these are the 2
Perfect.
questions.
Perfect. We'll find out who are the 2 people who have asked these questions. In fact, we are getting the good response from Gujarat, Ahmedabad, Mumbai, Panji, and there are other places where people are coming up with the questions, but the kind of questions that they are asking is really good. And Kavita, are we ready with the presentation?
yes.
Yeah, please show the screen slide so that we can announce yesterday's thing and tomorrow's. But how do you like, Abhishek, your views on these series?
I think this is a wonderful thing that you are doing, because right now people are more interested in Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and I don't know, Netflix and Amazon Prime. So this is a learning session, and people who are interested to learn, actually there's a time to learn, and this is where you can actually make a difference. See, people have got 45 days. People as in students have got 45 days of lockdown, right? Almost 30 to 45 days of lockdown. So if you have even got 1 or 2 skills that you have got from this, this will help you a lot. All the students, it will help a lot. So this is something that you guys are doing wonderful, awesome. And this is an initiative that even when I started, I said, there are webinars for adults, but what are the webinars for students? Where are the webinars for students? This is one that is happening. That is absolutely good. Thank you.
And
Thank you so much for coming out with this 9-day plan. This is very, very good.
and thank you for accepting that. I know the students are doing really, Mrinank and Siddharth, they're pushing behind that who could be the best speaker, and they're giving us the list. These are the speakers, you
Okay.
shortlist. So that is the way how the things are coming up. Well, when you said about the Toastmasters, in fact, myself and Kavita were, discussing this to announce tomorrow. But now that you have put it in the context, we are coming up with the, public speaking skill like what Toastmasters is doing on, on a physical platform. We are coming up with an online platform where the registrations will start, and student can register, and they will see that what kind of the difference that they have come, because they are going to be the speakers now. And of course this would not be a public video, it would be a private video only. But yes, we are surely coming up with it from 17th of May.
Oh, great, great. That is something that is very good. For Toastmasters for students is very good. This is a platform that will help a lot of students. Absolutely great.
Because
Absolutely.
the kind of competition now it is increasing, and looking at today's scenario, how the COVID crisis is going on, there could be a possibility that student will not be available to the school, and they will not be going to the school for a long time. So it's the time that we can leverage this thing. Kavita,
Yes,
move ahead
absolutely.
with the 7 days plan, 9 days plan, so that the things can be presented.
Okay.
Kavita, over to you.
Okay, these are the 9 capsules we have planned for the students. We have done with the about the emerging careers post-COVID. Then we had a session on how to be successful and happy. And then we did a very interactive session with Praveen ji on how to develop soft skills. And I think the way it is moving, it's going more amazing. Like with Abhishek, it was again so impactful, so interactive session on delivering the presentation. Uh, then we are coming up with Prathamesh tomorrow on writing winning resume and cover letter. And for the students, it is not limited to for applying for internship or anything. Even it is for applying to certain colleges. Many colleges now want you to write the resume and cover letter.
In fact, Kriya University is actually asking people to write their resume, write a cover letter, they write a case study, and based on that only they are shortlisting. There is no entrance exam. So Kriya University is in Sri City, and it is a initiative by Raghuram Raghavan, who is the ex-RBI governor. So think about that, where all you need to write the resume. So you cannot think that I'm a student, why should I be participating in that? Writing resume is no longer an adult thing. It is even coming to the school things. Wow.
We have been selecting winners for each day depending on the interaction the audience is having, students are having, the way they are asking the questions, and maybe at times the way they are reverting back to the when some question is asked or something is asked from the students. So based on that, yesterday's winners are Tanay Mahajan, student class I think 9th and 10th, because I think they have not cleared or something, from Panaji. Then we have Twisha Trivedi. She is also from Jamnagar. They have won the personality development session. We will be taking them, we'll be hand-holding them and helping them through the virtual platform, how they can groom themselves and come out to be an excellent person, a better person, better than self. So as we have already, many presenters have, mentioned that we don't have to compare ourselves with anybody. We have to be better than ourselves. Every day we have to improve, with us only. We have to compete with us only. So this is the way it is going to move. And for tomorrow, we have Prathamesh. He's from Bombay, and he is a well-known career mentor, and he's also with the Utter Tinker project he's working with. and he will be presenting and giving advice on how to write a winning resume and cover letters.
So stay tuned for tomorrow, and this will give you another thing. See you tomorrow, all. And Abhishek, once again, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Ourselves, we have enjoyed so much. I'm sure students are enjoying. We have still have 52 comments to see, and I'm sure this is the feedback. We'll share the feedback with you, that how the feedback has come.
Absolutely. Okay. No problem. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Thank you for attending today's session. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, Abhishek. Thanks everyone for joining
Thank you.
us.